What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. And this week we're going to be previewing the 2019 NFL rosters for the NFC South. We're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons and what we're expecting out of them in 2019. Now, first things first, they fire Steve Sarkisian as offensive coordinator, and they hire former Tampa Bay Bucks head coach Dirk Cutter as offensive coordinator. So I think that's an improvement. That's an upgrade over Steve Sarkisian, who, in my mind, is a college guy, and he should go back to college where he does better work. The Falcons consistently dealt with red zone issues under Steve Sarkisian. And Matt Ryan was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in 2018 under Sark. So they definitely they get a new offensive coordinator in Dirk Cutter, so they're going to go a little bit of a different direction there. And they definitely address the offensive line. 2 first-round picks. They go with guard Chris Lindstrom out of Boston College and tackle Caleb McGarry out of Washington. Also in free agency, they add guard James Carpenter and guard Jamon Brown, as well as tight end Luke Stocker. So they're going offensive line. They're going protection around Matt Ryan. Like I said, he was sacked a lot in 2018. So they got to fix that. He was sacked 42 times, which tied for 8th most with Marcus Mariota. That's the most in Matt Ryan's career since 2013. So they definitely are looking to fix that. Let's see. So their draft grade, I like the 2 offensive linemen in the first round, and in the 4th round, I like corner Kendall Sheffield out of Ohio State. He's got good ball skills when the ball's in the air, and he seems to be a solid tackler. So I think he's a good get. You add him to the defensive backs of Desmond Trufant and Isaiah Oliver, who they drafted last year. So getting Kendall Sheffield, adding to that, their corners will definitely help. I think he's a good draft pick. But overall, those are the only draft picks that I like. So I gave them a C plus in the draft. I thought they could have done a little bit better, but definitely addressing the offensive line. Some players they lost. They lose Bruce Irvin, defensive end of the Panthers. Justin Bethel, corner Brian Poole, corner Robert Alford goes to the Cardinals. Defensive end Brooks Reed, gone to the Cardinals. Running back Tevin Coleman to the 49ers, big loss there. And speedy wide receiver Marvin Hall to the Bears. So I do think Dirk Cutter is an upgrade. I'll reiterate that. I like the offensive line moves, bringing in, 4 new offensive linemen, so that should help. Now, I look for wide receiver Calvin Ridley to take a big step in I believe this is year number 3. He needs to step up and turn into a number 2 wide receiver, kind of replace Mohamed Sanu, who is starting to take a step back, I believe. So if Calvin Ridley can step up alongside Julio, that could be a dangerous tandem there. Also a good dangerous tandem is the 2-headed running back system of Devontae Freeman. They do lose Tevin Coleman, but they drafted Ito Smith last year. And I think he's a good fit. He's got great hands as well as good running ability. So I look for a big year out of Ito Smith. Got to fix, the offensive line. Got to give Matt Ryan more protection. And got to hope that injuries don't cripple him as well as they did last year. I think another thing that could help the offensive line and Matt Ryan is to establish the run a little bit better. And that's something I feel like Steve Sarkisian didn't do well in his time in Atlanta. In my opinion, the best offense is a balanced offense. And, I think they've relied a little bit too much on Matty Ice in his career. I think give him more help. A balanced offense will, establish the run that'll take some pressure off the offensive line and Matt Ryan. Last year, the Falcons ranked 29th in rushing attempts. So get that number up, feed Devontae Freeman, feed Ito Smith, and get a balanced offense. And that will only help the receivers of, the guys like Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and even Austin Hooper at tight end. So, get the defensive lines to be less aggressive. Star wide receiver Julio Jones is looking for a new contract. Will probably be around the highest paid wide receiver in the game, money. So we'll see if they get that figured out in time for training camp. Make it so Julio doesn't miss too much time. I think expectations in Atlanta this year have to be high. They need to be much better than last year. They need to make the playoffs. This is Matt Ryan's prime. They need to be successful. He's got the weapons, so fix the offensive line, which they definitely addressed. If the defense can be a little bit healthier, I expect big things in Atlanta. I think they'll be fighting for the division. Do I think they'll win the division? It's hard to say at this point. I think it's a three-headed monster. I think it's between Carolina, Atlanta, and New Orleans. I think New Orleans is going to take a little bit of a step back with their aging franchise quarterback. I think Carolina is going to be better. They seem to have fixed Cam Newton's shoulder issues, and he's got a new throwing motion going on. Plus, their defensive line is better. So, the Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans battle is going to be tough. I think Atlanta goes something like 9-7, 10-6, and are right in the mix to either win the division or get a wild card and make the playoffs. Either way, they need to make the playoffs in 2019. But I see no reason, barring injuries like what they dealt last year, especially on the defensive side of the ball, if Atlanta can stay healthy, Dirk Cutter's an improvement in the play calling department. The offensive line seems to be improved. With the development of Calvin Ridley, I'm expecting big things out of Atlanta. I'm going to go ahead and say 10-6 and to finish second in the division in 2019. So I hope you guys like this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Give me some feedback. Falcon fans, NFC South fans, tell me what you're thinking, if you disagree, if you like it. And I'll keep putting out these episodes for you guys. So thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned. Peace out.